Right. Good morning, everybody. Wherever you are, welcome to Webinar Wednesday, one of the world's leading webinar series. And it's always good to be back this morning. Once again, we've got a big audience and we have an interesting one this morning. We have a two-part webinar, both super important to all of us. And before I do, I hope you saw that quick snip of that video. Yes. The build-up to the Business Show Africa has begun, and as we know, in its 17th edition, it's the biggest B2B event in the world. And again, Stanton Convention Center on the 3rd and the 4th, and you saw Absa's big exhibit there. So if you haven't as yet, this is an important message, if you haven't as yet got your free ticket, please do so, because this year we are going to cut it off because of the demand that we get. So please get your ticket, and I know Alicia will put the website on there again, the address. Please secure your ticket and join us at the Business Show Africa. It's an incredible event if you haven't been there. And for those of you who have been there, you'll know why you'll need to get your ticket once again. It's action-packed, and of course, it's a must-attend event for anyone who's serious about starting out or wanting to build a bigger and more successful business. So please do that. So wherever you are, please tell us where you are in South Africa or around the world. It's always nice to see who we're talking to. And currently I'm in Cape Town. It's pretty cold right now. I'm looking at, it's raining, it's cold, it's fortunately not windy. But of course, as we know, this time of the year, it gets pretty chilly down here. But wherever you are, tell us where you are. Tell us what the weather's like. Tell us what you are expecting this morning. And we're going to hopefully fulfill your objectives as we move on. And as I always say, importantly, you will all receive a replay of this webinar soon after we've completed. So you don't need to take any notes. You'll get the replay. And again, another important message is that if for whatever reason we lose you or you lose us, we'll be back. Don't leave us. Technology presents itself at different times. So please don't despair, we will be back. But I'm confident, and to date, we haven't had that problem after quite a few years. So please bear with us if that is the case. So register for the Business Show Africa. It's a must-attend event. Sit back, relax, get your coffee, and enjoy the sessions. So first of all, I want to thank Absa, a very big partner of NSBC Africa, and of course, a big supporter of SME South Africa for many, many years, and close friends of mine. And of course, anyone who's close to small business and SMEs is a close friend of the NSBC. So, and we've got two very powerful guests this morning, but I'm not going to come to our second guest just yet. I'm going to, of course, welcome Khanya Matshikwe on board. She's going to talk about women entrepreneurship, which I love. So Khanya, please join me on stage. Khanya, good to see you. And I know that you are somewhere in Rosebank. I think you're in Rosebank. And of course, wonderful to see you. And I know that offline just now we were talking about women entrepreneurship. And just for our guests out there, you know, 17 years ago when I started the NSBC, I think 2% or 3% of our SME members were women-owned. Now I want to tell you, it's over 51%. And of course, it shows you it's a global revolution. And I'll tell you what's quite important about that. It primarily escalated dramatically during the pandemic, which we don't quite want to talk about. But and since then, it's just catapulted, not just in South Africa, but around the world. So to the guys out there, unfortunately, women are controlling the world. We just have to live with that now. And I think it'll be a better place, you know. So Khanya, again, thank you for joining us. Khanya is a CA, MBA. She's also the head of customer value proposition SME for South Africa at Absa. So important portfolio you have, Khanya. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and tell me, Khanya, I've got a couple of questions here, and we're going to touch on this important subject. And just if you don't mind me, it's always nice to talk to our attendees, our guests, a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I'm glad to see everybody introducing themselves online as well. Quite a wide range that we've got. So good morning to everyone online as well. Yeah, so I'm currently the head of client value proposition for SME at Absa. And essentially that means that it's very important for me to bring in customer insights. So I spend a lot of time with clients, understanding their needs from a business perspective, and taking those insights and incorporating them into how we design products and solutions. And then over and above that, it's about how we take them to market. So effectively, my role is the combination between customer insights, product development, and taking those to market. And often, I say that we can't build propositions or solutions for businesses sitting here at 15 Alice Lane in Sandton. I have to go out and walk the factory floor. I have to go and spend some time on the farm. I have to go and and sit in the truck with the driver, because as we spend time with business owners, so we better understand their needs. And so every single financial solution that we design from a bank perspective is to address a need and is a means to an end as opposed to an end in and of itself. So that's just a little bit about the work that we do. And hopefully we'll get to speak about the proposition that we designed specifically for women in business.
Absolutely, Khanya. Thank you for that insight. And I hope I got your name right, Sana. Yeah, I think Durban this time of the year is a great place to be. 28 degrees today. June, July is the place to be in Durban. So I think after this webinar, I'm flying up to Durban and spend some time because I love the weather in Durban this time of the year. Let's get straight into it, Khanya, if you don't mind me. What are some of the challenges facing women in entrepreneurship currently?
Yeah, Mike, it's interesting that in your intro, you said, unfortunately for men, women are running business. I think it's quite fortunate. If we look at some of the data and stats that are available globally from, the IFC, from the World Bank, there are three main challenges that women in business face. The first one is access to capital. And yes, we know many SMEs in general face challenges in accessing capital. For women in particular, it's because of the lack of collateral that's required for funding. The other one is lack of access to markets. And again, you can say, well, every SME has that challenge. But from a woman in business perspective, it's really around the networks. Who are the like-minded business owners who have been through, similar challenges and have seen similar opportunities with whom you can relate. And so that network component is quite important and bears quite a big challenge for women in business. And then I'd say the last one is really around having businesses that are aligned with your values. A question many women in business, even within corporate, get is, how do you balance your life? How do you balance work, home, etc.? And so having a mentorship community is one of the other challenges that women in business face. And so with this understanding, our response is to say, how do we come around those women in business to provide solutions that meet those challenges? The access to finance, particularly from a collateral perspective, the access to markets, particularly from a network point of view, and then the access to resources through business development and support.
Now, Khanya, can you share and highlight a personal story that highlights resilience in women entrepreneurs?
Yes, of course. I can share many. How much
You
time
got
do we
time. You
have?
got time.
So I'll highlight one in particular. So a client of ours within the manufacturing industry, specifically textile manufacturing. We've walked this journey with the client from about 2014, 2015, so good 10 years now. When the client started the business, it's a business called CTU Manufacturing, based in Johannesburg, Doornfontein. The owner of the business is a registered nurse and was looking for ways to, better supplement her income. And when she started the business, it was really small, cut, make, trim business. Those of you who are in the textile manufacturing space will understand this quite well. So effectively buying material and purely providing the cut, make, trim services. What she saw was an opportunity for growth and how to scale the business. The challenge was accessing funding. She received the first initial contract from the Department of Health in Johannesburg to deliver the sheets, the bedding, as well as some of the nurses' scrubs. She received a loan from one of the DFIs at the time to kickstart this business, buying initial equipment. But in order to scale the business, there were a number of challenges that the client faced. The first one was all the accreditation that's required. So, how do you lay out your factory in such a way that it is optimal? And one of the things that we supported the client with was the actual remodeling of the entire business. So she worked from a building that had 3 floors. At the bottom floor, there was receiving for the materials. On the second floor was the cutting, and on the third floor was assembly. And so when you first think about this, you'd ask yourself, but what's the role of the bank in this? It's not immediately obvious. But it becomes obvious when we, from a credit perspective, are trying to understand how will she be able to deliver on this contract. Are there efficiencies in the business, and how might we open up additional access to markets? And so all of a sudden our role starts to become a little bit more obvious. Suffice to say, the business scaled from a 10 woman, or rather 10 employee business back in 2015. It is now over 65 people strong from a number of employees perspective. The revenue has quadrupled over that time, and also now services not only the Department of Health Gauteng, Mpumalanga, KZN, as well as other private clients. And so really it took 3 things to get this over the line. The first one was, from a banker perspective, to really understand our role as a relationship manager, not just as a financier. And so what does it mean for us to be a relationship banker? It's to step into the shoes of the clients and really understand what their core needs are, as opposed to only receiving a credit application for a 2 million rand cut, make, trim machine and then trying to assess that according to our credit standards. Yes, that's important. But even more than that is to really understand what journey the client is going on. Over and above that, we're able to tell a true impact story. We're able to talk about the growth of employment as a result of the partnership, but also scaling a woman-owned business. So it's a personal story for me because this was a client of mine whose journey we walked over the years, but it also demonstrates the importance of partnership. I mentioned that one of her first facilities was through a DFI. And so there's a wide range of potential funders that we work with. And we work quite closely with certain government funders ourselves because we believe in the importance of being able to blend our finance and being able to partner in this space.
Now, Khanya, lovely words there, Khanya. We all know that opportunities are always sought by entrepreneurs globally. Now, what opportunities are particularly promising right now, emerging opportunities promising for women entrepreneurs?
Pick a sector, and there are many. I'll highlight some opportunities within financial services. So I see a lot of opportunities within the financial technology space, so within the fintech space. And really, this is not limited to banking or insurtech. If we think about the role of accounting providers, for instance, and so if you run a small accounting firm, how is it that you use technology to better enable your clients from a reporting perspective? That's fintech. Often when we think fintech, we think, Bitcoin, and it has to be something, that's blowing out the water. Yes, of course, there are opportunities there. But in your core business, how you are able to integrate and adopt technology is how you scale. It's how you scale from 10 customers to 30 to 100 to 30,000. Without the proper integration of technology, we take this platform as an example, how we're able to reach hundreds of thousands of people by virtue of us having this conversation. So that's an important element that I'd say one of the key opportunities is in how women in business integrate technology into their operations.
Now, Khanya, we also know that coming through, mentorship is such a vital area. How can women entrepreneurs find the right mentor?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's about understanding what it is that you are seeking from a mentor. we recently concluded a mentorship program with a partner, and it was specifically targeting women in business. And it was with a cohort of 30 women entrepreneurs. And the recurring feedback that we got from the clients who were part of that mentorship program was, I felt a little bit stuck, wasn't quite sure what the next step was. And these are formidable businesses, all of them turning over more than 10 million Rand per annum. And so when you look at that, you'd imagine that, oh, they're cruising, things are easy. So I'd say the first thing in terms of looking for a mentor is clarity on what it is that you're looking for. Are you looking to expand your business from a product perspective or from a geographical location point of view? Are you looking for opportunities outside of your standard operating business, or perhaps in another field? Are you looking to deepen your expertise within a particular field? So perhaps when you started your business, having strong technical expertise within construction, but you know the importance of networking and business development. And the role of marketing, perhaps. So that clarity around what you're looking for is quite important. Then I'd say you have not because you ask not. And there are various places that you can reach and find mentorship. Like I mentioned, we just concluded a mentorship program with our clients. A bank isn't, the first place you think of for that. And in fact, the clients who participated in the program were all quite surprised that we ran this program. But we do it on purpose because we believe that if our clients are successful, we will be successful as a bank. And so from a mentorship perspective, I'd say it's really around unpacking those three things for yourself and then asking for the help.
All right, Khanya, now you touched earlier on the phrase access to finance, and we all know access to finance is the number one global challenge for every entrepreneur. What strategies can women use to access finance funding?
I love this question. So let me take a few steps back to when we launched She Thrives. So She Thrives is our solution specifically targeting women in business. And this was back in 2023, and we've now evolved and enhanced it over the last few months. One of the key tenets of She Thrives is really premised around access to financing. And there are two components to it that I'd like to highlight. The first one is when applying for funding, we all know if you've ever applied for an overdraft or a term loan or asset finance, there's an initiation fee linked to that or some kind of deposit required for that facility, which can often act as a hindrance for accessing financing. For every single woman in business that banks with Absa, when they apply for financing through us, we've waived those initiation fees. I'll say that again. So we've waived the initiation fees for lending for women in business. And this is deliberate so that we get rid of that first hurdle. And we're enabling you to say, when you thrive, we thrive as a business, and that access to funding is quite important. So the name of the proposition is She Thrives. The second part of it, which I mentioned earlier, is the requirement for collateral. And so again, through our enterprise development unit within the bank, for selected businesses, we also then provide support where collateral is required. And collateral comes in different forms. It may be in the form of a guarantee. It may come in the form of a part grant to the facility. It may come in the form of waiving of the requirement of collateral. So there are different aspects of how this might happen. But we've thought about what does it mean for a woman in business to access finance. One part of it is around the initiation fees. The other part is around the collateral or security that's required.
Okay. I know that topic will go on, years and years. We know that the NSBC, access to finance, and we often assist a great deal with the likes of Absa and Experian and the other players in this game, to become funding ready. And what we also do know is that 95% of business owners that apply for funding, they get rejected, will be approved if they just do the right thing to become funding ready, get their credit score in order, get their financials in order, get the cash flow forecasts in order, And so we're on a massive drive ongoing to really assist entrepreneurs, business owners to become funding ready. So when the time is right, they can access finance. Because the problem is, Khanya, you and I know, when I want to wake up this morning and I want to apply for funding today, and I haven't prepared myself or my business, it's going to take months. I'm not going to get the funding that I need. So the onus is on the business owner, the woman business owner, any business owner, to prepare yourself now for the time that you do need to access finance. And of course, for me, it's a personal big topic, and I'm very passionate about the topic because at the end of the day, funding is important to build your business, not necessarily always just to start out, but to build your business, to buy that all important equipment, that printing machine that's broken down, to be able to take your business to the next level. So my urge is, of course, to prepare yourself to access finance. And if you need assistance on that, drop us an email, info@nsbc.africa. I will talk to the Absa team, of course, and we can help you to be able to prepare yourself to access funding when it's needed. It's a great business exercise, nevertheless, even if you never apply for funding. It of course, puts you in good stead. So please do that. There we go, info@nsbc. So get yourself ready to access funding from Absa, team. Go for it. All right.
Now, and if I may add to that access to funding point, because it's quite important, right? So you start preparing to access funding or preparing your funding readiness journey from day one. And it's quite important. So a simple example that we often overlook is the importance of having a business bank account and using that for your business. Why is it important? Because that's where your track record is. And so, it's a lesson learned from a lot of businesses that you run your business using your own personal account when you're starting off because it's easier, it's less admin. But having a business bank account from day one helps you to build that track record. So that's the first thing I'd say. The second one is we actually ran a funding readiness webinar series last year, which is available on the Absa social media platforms. And this covered 5 episodes. And in each episode, we covered different aspects, looking at your business plan and thinking 1 month, 6, 12, 18 months in advance, understanding what your runway is, understanding how to forecast your cash flows based on the income that's coming in and the payments that you need to make, really going down to that level of granular detail. So 100%, I want to support the point that you're making, Mike, around the importance of funding readiness. It's not only at the point that you're applying for funding, but it's a way of running your business.
Absolutely, Khanya. And another important, like you said, I love how you touched on that, separate, and also, get your, for example, your personal credit card. Keep it personal. Get a business credit card for your business. Keep it separate. We're working a lot on that to separate personal from business because it's important to building your business and building your business credibility. So very importantly, to separate entirely business from personal. It's the right thing to do for yourself personally and for your business. So get into the habit of separating because it's quite important down the line as we move on. And now, Khanya, coming to the next one, branding, personal branding. What policy? I mean, what strategies can women use to build a strong personal brand?
So I'd say the most important thing is to ensure that you stay true to yourself. Often there's the misconception that you have to present yourself a particular way, and this is a global phenomenon. People tend towards extroversion because they think that it's the best way to do things, but it's to be true to yourself. So whatever that looks like, and that's how you brand yourself. That's how you become memorable. That's how you align yourself to your true values. So I think it's important to say that. The second one is, to work with a coach. When in doubt, ask. And this is where, we go beyond funding readiness or, understanding the business needs. But when you're presenting your business plan in front of a credit committee, they're backing you as the entrepreneur. They're backing you as the business owner. So it's quite important to be clear on your why, because your why is much stronger than the how. The how is figure outable. But the why is really supports you and your values, if I can put it that way. So around branding, working with a coach, I've found is quite important. And that's an element of enterprise development, or even self-development, if I can put it that way, self-development within enterprise development that's often overlooked. The focus is on the operations, the finances of the business, to the detriment of the personal branding. But really, that is a very important aspect as well.
No, absolutely. Khanya, and my final question, and then of course, after my final question, anything else you need to add, or please do that. But, we all know that, entrepreneurship is a viable career option. There's only so many jobs out there globally, and of course, especially in South Africa. And of course, we're very strong behind promoting entrepreneurship as that viable career option. And of course, as we do know, Khanya, is that when you start your business, the honeymoon is over quite quickly. It's not easy out there. And of course, we all know that. But, if it's for you, it's an amazing way forward in life. I've been an entrepreneur my whole working life. But I always said, I did a talk the other day to many hundreds of people. And, working in a corporate and starting a business, it's one's not better than the other. It's two different career paths. But one's got to understand that path. So my final question to you, Khanya, is what advice would you give to women looking to start their own business?
I'd say after you've looked, try. Because nobody's an entrepreneur in theory. You've got to be an entrepreneur in practice. From an Absa perspective, we have developed what we call the entrepreneurship mindset. And we work with learners from high school already, through various programs, through our citizenship team. And that's really around, to your point, that entrepreneurship is a viable career choice. And from that perspective, we're teaching the art of doing. Every single idea only becomes viable once it's tested. So, to support that is to say, to not be afraid of fear. If you think about any career path, at somewhere along the line, you're going to fail, whether it's an exam, whether it's a practical, but that doesn't mean you should stop. It means you go back, you learn from the mistakes, and you go again. So what I'm saying by this is you may have an initial idea to start a beauty salon and find yourself, rather tending towards buying a franchise. Or you may find yourself within one particular field and move to another. So it's to not be fearful of trying again. And I'd say that, certainly entrepreneurship is a viable option. And hence we focus both on youth in entrepreneurship through our emerging entrepreneur solutions, as well as women in entrepreneurship through She Thrives. Because at the end of the day, the support is required on both hands, and it's about the mindset of being willing to do.
No, absolutely, Khanya. And I'm passionate about the subject personally. And like you just touched on there, which I'm really pleased about, is that, don't wait for the conditions to be perfect, because they never will be perfect. But when you start doing, they start becoming perfect. And that's the thing. And if you know what, I often say to people, I would hate to one day sit on my deck chair when my kind of time is done and look back on my life and saying, if only I did this and if only I did that. I would rather fail 1,000 times than never try. And of course, is that success and failure go hand in hand. You cannot succeed in life if you don't fail en route. But as long, you touch on this, Khanya, as long as you learn from that obstacle, that failure, then you can move forward. But you know what the problem is that many people, they spend many months working on their business plan, more months, they don't want to take that plunge. But the point is, take the calculated risk. That's important. But move. Don't overthink. Take action and do it, because that is the word. If that is your dream, then you must do it. And of course, take the action. Wonderful words, Khanya. I don't know if you've got a closing message if you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, sure. Firstly, thank you for the opportunity, and I really enjoyed the conversation with you, Mike. I've seen some questions coming through to the chat. I'll try and answer some of those as well. So all I wanted to say is that, Absa is the bank of the entrepreneur. We understand the importance of women in business, and we're backing you. We're backing you from a development perspective. We're backing you as you run your businesses, and we're backing you as you scale those businesses through financing. Thanks,
Khanya,
Mike.
thank you very much for your wise words and your insights. We appreciate people like yourselves and others, and of course, Absa as a brand, a very powerful partner of the NSBC, a big driver of SME and entrepreneurship in South Africa. You walk the talk, and we're very grateful for that. And so, Khanya, thank you for that. And I'd love to talk to you more on that funding readiness series. I'd love to share it with our base. We could take that offline. And again, have a wonderful day further. And I have no doubt we'll be talking to you again shortly. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Mike. Thank you.
All right. So wonderful session, huge insights. Of course, I've learned again a great deal. And now we're coming to part 2. So please don't leave us. It's an important session. And I'd like to invite Vincent Pillay. He's going to talk about digital payments. Vincent, wasn't that a great session?
Definitely. Always great listening to Khanya and the things that they're doing in the small business space, and especially women entrepreneurship. Very exciting.
Now, Vincent, you are the head of commercialization for payment acceptance at Absa, and we were talking offline earlier. The digital payments have evolved. I don't think I can keep up with it, but it's evolved, and it's become a very important part of business, and of course SME South Africa, extremely important. And so welcome to talk to me about that, and I look forward. And Vincent, just a bit about yourself, if you don't mind me.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And firstly, thanks for having us on this platform, and a warm good morning to your viewers on a cold day in Johannesburg.
And Cape Town.
I looked at some of the and Cape Town. I looked at some, except Durban, right? So yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. I joined Absa about 2 years ago. I spent the bulk of my career in telecoms. I had a bit of a career transition into banking and into payments. A really exciting space, and you'll find that the industries are converging, and technology is certainly driving payment modernization. And I'm glad I've got this opportunity to join Absa and to make a difference in this space. It's been an exciting journey. In the last year, we've brought in a lot of new innovation. We're making it easier for our merchants to be able to accept payments, and using new methods, things like QR capability, online payment platforms, etc. And these are tools to help our businesses also scale and grow. And I see definite purpose in the role that I play, and what the payments acceptance team is doing at Absa. So definitely very exciting.
All right, Vincent. So let's talk on that a bit of that excitement now. From your side, Vincent, how have digital payment solutions changed the way merchants operate today?
Yeah, I think, Mike, if you go back, right, from a cash society to, I think it's the mid 1950s when the first credit cards were launched, and I think not too far back, those of us that are not so young will remember the zip zap machines, when you paid with a credit card and you went and this machine was. Your card was placed on this machine, and it was moved from left to right, and an imprint was taken on carbon paper in triplicate. It certainly evolved, right, massively along the years. Also, I think debit cards as well, provided a cashless alternative linked directly to the bank account. And I think in more recent years, we've seen introduction of the internet, smartphone proliferation, also changing the payments landscape again. Now merchants are transacting online. They need a secure platform to be able to accept payments online. Smartphones and wearables now provide a wallet type solution to pay using your smartphone, or tapping your your smartwatch on a card machine without having the need to carry a cell phone. And I think it's going to evolve even further, right? Biometric payments, etc. So lots of innovation. It's changing very fast, hard to keep up, but definitely an exciting space.
Yeah, Vincent, imagine where we're going to be in 10 years' time. I don't think we have any idea. Now, of course, we always talk about challenges in different facets. And what are the biggest challenges facing entrepreneurs entering the payments space?
Yeah, I think twofold, right? So I think entrepreneurs accepting payment is often an entry point. Before you're applying for that business loan, you're providing a service or you're selling goods. You need to have the ability to accept payments from your clients. And I think often there's the complexity, there's the cost that's involved, understanding, what does one merchant device do that's different from another? How do I bring in an e-commerce payment gateway if I'm selling my goods online? I think another complexity in outlying areas is reliable internet connection to connect these devices. And then I think it gets even more complex from there when it comes to integrating into sales platforms. If you want to integrate your payments into your ECR systems, etc. And I think a major factor for merchants today is just go with a trusted provider that will navigate these complexities for you. Because as a small business, your focus should be on growing your business, and I think you can really get consumed in terms of unpacking and understanding those complexities around it. And I think we've tried to make it simple. Things like converting a smartphone into a card machine is capability that we have. It also breaks down the costs and the barriers to entry. You don't need to go and buy a card machine outright. You don't need to pay a monthly rental. Take your Android smartphone that you're using every day, that becomes a card machine, very quickly by downloading an app. So I think there's definitely those complexities, but we're here to help navigate that and provide simple solutions that's tailor-made for the type of business and the industry that the SME merchants are operating within. And I think it's not a one size fits all. You've got solutions for a merchant that's transacting just in a physical world, in a brick and mortar store. Then you've got merchants that want to transact online, and I think today there's also the speak of omni-channel and being able to accept payments on multiple platforms. That's important for us, and part of the innovation and the capability that we've been building to address those complexities in that businesses face.
Now, Vincent, we always talk about success stories, and can you share a success story of a merchant who leveraged payment innovation to scale their business?
I think like with Khanya, I think there's too many to mention, but I'll use some broad examples, and I'll go back to mobile pay, which is our soft POS solution. And what it's done for certain small businesses, merchants operating like plumbers, electricians, or even a DSTV installer. Traditionally, I think they depended a lot on cash payments, or when they went and did a job, then an EFT payment, and then they had to wait for a couple of days for those payments to reflect, and at times they chasing their customers for payments. With mobile pay, we found that we can quickly enable the soft POS application on the mobile phones. These plumbers, electricians, etc., can go out, receive card payment immediately, and again they can focus on growing their core business. We also have another example of a it was a fashion designer in Eastern Cape. And this fashion designer started off with traditional POS machines. Business was starting off a few years back, needed a card machine to accept payments. We enabled that. And I think, we're excited that, we've been part of that growth story because, as I mentioned earlier, payments is often the entry point to other banking benefits and opportunities as the business is growing. And recently, this fashion designer showcased at New York Fashion Week. So, very exciting story. And I think going forward as well, we've been piloting and we launched recently our e-com solution. And we're seeing that change, the way merchants do business as well going into the future. By downloading our new ShopRed application and signing up for that service, you can build an online store in minutes. So if you don't have digital presence, if you sell primarily from a brick and mortar store and you service a small community, with ShopRed, you can take your business to a much wider market. We've got the payment gateways built in, and you can accept payments. Literally, it's downloading an app, taking pictures of your products, typing out the description. And I think the great thing about it is that it creates that ecosystem, that omni-channel experience that I spoke about earlier. And it helps with inventory management, sales dashboards, etc. That gives a lot of insight into your business. And I think it's tools and capabilities that small businesses, typically had to, contract with multiple providers to get this capability. And now it's provided all on one single platform. So we're excited to see what that does in future and how that enables our merchants to scale and to grow. And I think there's international platforms that provide those capabilities, but we're quite excited that this is a local capability that we're bringing at low cost and enabling more and more merchants to sell online. I read some stats the other day that the global e-commerce market is sitting around $6 trillion US. And in South Africa, it's projected to grow to about 100 billion by next year, which is, I think, double what it was just a couple of years ago. So, definitely growing. And, I think merchants who want to go digital, we can really provide the capability in a simple manner for them to enable them.
Now, before we continue, Vincent, I've got Tina's there and a few others asking how do they reach you guys on payment systems and digital payments. If you can pop that afterwards, we can send you a mail or I can just pop us an email, or you can give it to us online now. We can put contact.
Happy for them to reach out to me directly. My email address is vincent.pillay at absa.africa. So pop me a mail. I'll reach out. We've got regional teams across the country as well that can come through, pop in and take you through some of the solutions, do some live demos, and see what's best suited to your business.
That's great. And please don't email Vincent about selling him timeshare if you don't mind. Vincent, thanks for that. I'm sure there's a couple of people who want to chat to you for their own businesses. And now we all know that costs are imperative to every business, but especially to SMEs. How can SMEs adopt emerging payment technologies without high costs?
Yeah, so again, it was one of the complexities that we spoke about earlier on, right? And again, for a small business starting off, you want to minimize those costs. And I think, like I mentioned, we've got mobile pay solutions that take away the need for outright terminal rental, a terminal purchase or a monthly rental. Things like ShopRed provides an e-com capability that's affordable and also scalable. And there's also capabilities that we can bring, like QR codes for payments, where you can put up a QR code and a customer can make payments on those platforms. But in terms of addressing those challenges, we try to bring in a lot of new capabilities and value-added services to also offset the costs associated with taking payments. We've got capabilities like 7-day settlement, where we have the ability to settle merchants 7 days a week, including Sundays and public holidays. It can be challenging, and we have lots of public holidays and long weekends in South Africa. And sometimes when you're trading on a Sunday and then the Monday's a public holiday, you're waiting for those funds to settle, but you've got to buy stock, you've got suppliers to pay. 7-day settlement helps with that. We've launched a new proposition called intraday settlement. So you're running a business and you need your funds during the day. You need urgent access to funds. We have the ability with this product to bank and settle your funds at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, as an example, and the funds hit your account. Merchant cash advance is another solution where our merchants are trading. They need access to funds quickly. They can take up a merchant cash advance solution, and the repayments get taken off the daily settlements. And I think something that's quite exciting, that there's really also a very, very low cost value add that we've launched, is something called Pocket Flow. Pocket Flow provides merchants with insights and data into their business and into their industry. And we're taking data, big data analytics from our acquiring base, from card issuing data, from even cellular data, and the insight that product provides to a merchant. Take for example a bakery operating in Centurion. With that tool, you can understand who your customer is, the customer demographic, the customer, where they're traveling from to come and visit your bakery and buy your products. How does your bakery compare against other bakeries around the area? And it gives you really good insights to help you make decisions about your business, how to scale. Maybe you find that your customers are traveling from Johannesburg and traveling quite a distance to come to you. Maybe it informs the decision to open up another branch or a bakery closer to where your target market's traveling from. So, again, we try and make these things as affordable as possible, taking away the high costs, because we want small businesses to grow and to scale. So, really, some exciting propositions to help there, and also offset the costs that's associated with payments.
Well, thank you, Vincent. And of course, coming back to this, we always look at future trends. We keep our ears to the ground. And what trends do you foresee shaping the future of payment solutions for merchants in South Africa?
Yeah, so I think we're seeing a lot of the future capability unfolding right now. I spoke about unified commerce and bringing together online, in-store, mobile. I think another key trend that we're seeing is payments blending into everyday business tools. So think accounting systems, inventory systems, loyalty programs, integrating into customers' CRM systems and ERP systems, and then also embedding finance, right? So things like lay-by, buy now, pay later solutions, etc. So these things are unfolding as we speak. I think in future you'll start seeing things like crypto acceptance on payment platforms. And I think just before, when we had an offline chat, I mentioned to Mike, is imagine a world where, with things like Apple CarPlay in your vehicles, when you drive up to a filling station, that you can fill your tank and drive off without making payments. And, there's a camera that with number plate recognition that's recording the transaction and the payment goes through. So, but yeah, I think if I had a crystal ball, it'll be interesting to see how it's going to further evolve, because I think it's changing at such a rapid pace. And I think the next this is just things that are top of mind. You never know how. I think things like AI and big data as well will play a big part in terms of payments going forward.
Yeah, Vincent, I don't think we can imagine where we're going to land up in time. So it'll be interesting to watch that space. And my final question to you, Vincent, and it's all around security and convenience. How can merchants balance security and convenience in digital payments?
Yeah, so that's also a key one, right? So there's always the risk, and fraudsters get very creative as well. I think also just make sure that you're partnering with the right payment provider. That when you doing online payments, you're operating in a 3D secure environment that requires things like biometrics or two-factor authentication. Choose providers that are PCI DSS compliant, and providers that are also actively monitoring threats, right? Because you also don't want security to kill convenience. Education is key. Empowering your team, in terms of what to look out for. But I think also, as I mentioned earlier, we try and take away those complexities, and we try and provide a platform that's secure, that's stable. For us, what's key is uptime, security. You also don't want to have a payment system and then you find that you can't accept payments. There's some downtime and you're offline for a couple of hours in a day. That will erode your revenue very, very quickly. And I think people, lots of people are not carrying cash around these days. So you've got a customer in front of you, and you want to accept payments, and you're offline. That doesn't help. So I think considering those things, considering the secure environments, the fraud authentication, the monitoring, etc. I think is key decisions to look at when choosing a payment provider.
Vincent, super insightful. Thank you so much for your time. Vincent Pillay, and to Absa, of course, a big partner and a big driver of SME South Africa. We're truly grateful for what you do for the SME sector throughout South Africa and beyond, of course. And again, to Khanya, thank you. And I've no doubt that there are many more coming. Vincent, your insights, we truly appreciate. Thank you. And just a reminder to all attendees, you will all receive this replay. So I know we've had a couple of notes on the chat box there on that topic on its own. So you will get the replay. Look at it at your own time. And to all our attendees, thank you. But just watch the short video. You will see Absa in the highlight at the Business Show Africa from last year. Get your ticket. This year we are going to close off tickets. So get your free ticket. Your free ticket gets you to all the activities at the Business Show Africa. So watch the short video. Thank you to Absa, Vincent, Khanya, truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
For more business boosting content, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and like our posts.